Marco Rubio went on Fox News to try and explain away Donald Trump's dominance in the election so far, and he's going to make the most pathetic arguments imaginable.
What's your take on these numbers? In seconds, got to feel good, but at distance from first, it's got to make you scratch your head.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, the Nevada results are always a little different from what you see in other parts of the country. Their caucus system is different even from Iowa's. Last time, Mitt Romney got over 50%, so Donald Trump actually underperformed, but Mitt Romney did not once but twice in the state. Look, I've been saying this for a long time now. This is an unusual election. Throw out everything you know about presidential politics, because this year is very different. It's been proven week after week.
No kidding.
And right now what you have is a situation where the majority of the Republican electorate, the majority of Republican voters in this country do not want Donald Trump to be the nominee. I think that's been pretty clear now. The problem is that they're divided up among 4 people. At some point in South Carolina, it was 5 people. Before that, it was 7 people. So until there's some consolidation here, you're not going to have a clear alternative to Donald Trump. And the argument we've made is, I'm as conservative as anyone in this race, but I'm the conservative that can unify the Republican Party. You've seen it in the last 72 hours with a number of people that weren't with me initially. You know, a lot of the establishment people didn't even want me to run. A lot of them went with Jeb or whoever. But they're now all starting to consolidate across the spectrum in this party with the understanding that if we don't come together, we're never going to be able to provide a clear alternative to the direction that Donald Trump wants to take the Republican Party and the country. And I think voters are going to have to start making a choice here about not just what kind of Republican Party, but what kind of country we're going to have in the 21st century. Because I'm as angry and as frustrated as anyone. I've been angry and frustrated since 2010 when I ran for the Senate and had to take on the entire establishment in the U.S. Senate of Republicans. But I also understand that while anger and frustration can motivate you to do something, you got to know what you're going to do. And voters deserve to know how you're going to do it. And right now, all Donald says is, you know, he tells you what the result is going to be, but he refuses to outline how we're going to achieve these things. And voters deserve to know that, because this is the most important political job on the planet.
Right, and you're going through the interview process, all of you are right now. Well, Senator Rubio, the argument that Senator Cruz is making, he says, look, I won Iowa. At least I have that under my belt. We need to congratulate you on your last two performances, getting second place, but at some point, do you need to start winning, and where can you do that? And we know you've picked up some high-profile endorsements since Monday. We can show you a graphic of that. Senator Orrin Hatch, Bob Dole, Tom Tillis, and the list goes on. Where do you see that you can win?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that you don't win the nomination by how many states you win.
You don't win the nomination by how many states you win. You know, some people say that the person who finishes first is the winner. I'm of a different belief. I kind of think that if you come in second and you keep doing that, then somehow you win. Is anybody buying this? You guys like this? Is this making sense? Oh my goodness, what a weak little bitch. Every time I hear this guy talk, I think, oh my God, Trump might actually be right about all of these guys. Weak over here, low energy over there. What are these guys doing? They can't argue their way out of a paper bag. I know what I'm doing. We're going to win. Make America #1. Or what is it again? Make America great again, whatever the fuck he says. All right, so let me break down specifically some of the stuff he says here. This is incredible. First, he says, yeah, okay. Donald Trump is dominating the race. You got me. He doubled the votes of the person who came in second. That was me. Absolutely curb stomped my ass. But Mitt Romney in Nevada the last time around, he dominated by even more. And www.sothefuckwhat.com, you still got destroyed, bitch. I don't, like, what's so sad about this is you know that his staffers were trying to come up with cutesy little arguments like this to use, and then he uses them, and in their mind, in their dumbass little bubble, they're like, this is going to convince people to vote for me instead of him. Sure, he's dominant, but Romney was more dominant in Nevada, so you got to go with the guy who came in second, but still got crushed. Yeah. You and your staff are helplessly stupid, Marco. Nobody's going to hear that and go, that's a winner. I'm with that guy. All right, then he says, Marco Rubio, of all people, said, you know, the establishment has been against me. Dude, you are the establishment. We've covered endless stories. There are specific stories about how Marco Rubio took money from certain donors, then lo and behold, he was on the side of a certain policy position or he pushed legislation. Now, this race, Sheldon Adelson has been more sitting on the sidelines, waiting to jump in because he doesn't want to back the wrong people. Last time he wasted a lot of money on the wrong people. But in previous elections, Sheldon Adelson has backed him, and then Marco Rubio all of a sudden was like, I think gambling online is immoral. Let's fight against this. Meanwhile, Sheldon Adelson made all his money from casinos, from gambling. But he wanted to crush online gambling because he viewed it as direct competition to him and his business. So Marco Rubio was out there leading the fight, like, oh, yes, this is so immoral. Let's fight back against this. Does this have something to do with the money I took from Sheldon Adelson? No. I'm anti-establishment. So he goes from saying the establishment is against me. By the way, he raised $77 million between him, his campaign, and his super PAC running for president. $77 million! You're going to tell me you're anti-establishment? He goes from that argument to he calls for a consolidation of the establishment. Marco, which is it? You can't say, oh, I'm anti-establishment too. All right, seriously, guys in the establishment, everybody else needs to drop out who's part of the establishment and then consolidate around me. It's one or the other. You can't be anti-establishment and then say, all right, let's all rally together, establishment, and pick me. And that part's actually honest, too, where he's saying, okay, seriously, everybody else who's anti-establishment, John Kasich, you have to go. Ted Cruz, who's more anti-establishment than Rubio, but still to a certain extent establishment. Yeah, you need to drop out, too. Everybody needs to drop out, and it's got to be me versus Trump in order for me to have a shot. That's actually true. But even with that, it ain't looking good for Marco Rubio. And then listen to this argument he uses against Trump. He says, Trump gives policy stuff, sure, but he doesn't give specifics. So, like, he's mad. Yeah, I'm mad too. But he says what he wants to do, but he never says how he's going to do it. So vote for me. Wait, no, but you never say how you're going to do it either. All your stump speeches are Jesus, 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 God, 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 and fuck liberals. So you go out there and you do a shittier version of that than Donald Trump can do, and you're like, yeah, he gives policy stuff, but not details. So, vote for me. No Republican voter is going to buy that argument across the board. What Republican voter has ever said, that he's angry and he's given some policy stuff, but I just want more details. That ain't the Republican voters who give a shit about details. So he doesn't have a core argument that really can try to defeat Trump. So what he does is he's just flailing. He's flailing like the glitchy Marco bot that he is. And the stuff that him and his staff come up with, they're just wholly unconvincing, which leads to the final point, which is, did you see towards the end there what they're trying to do? This is Fox News trying to help him out too and give him a little bit of rehabilitation or make it so he has a shot against Trump. On the screen, they put, you have picked up some high-profile endorsements recently. Orrin Hatch, who negative 14 people care about. Bob Dole, who wasn't even relevant enough in 1996 because he lost. So who's fucking, I wasn't for him, but now I hear Bob Dole is for him, yeah. And one of the people who endorsed him, Tim Pawlenty. Tim Pawlenty is notorious for nobody giving a shit about him. Tim Pawlenty is the epitome of the establishment. He's quintessential establishment. And he ran for president recently. And what happened? I don't even think his family voted for him. The people in the media were like, oh, Tim Pawlenty, he's gonna make a run at this thing. He's gonna make a run at this thing. Boom, dropped out. If I'm not mistaken, it was like before Iowa. His poll numbers, I think his poll numbers were negative 32%. And they're like, all right, so he's struggling against Trump. How can we revive him? Tim Pawlenty. Bring out T-Pauls, y'all. T-Pauls, where you at, dog? Help out Marco here. Nobody gives a shit about Tim Pawlenty, but they don't have anything else to run to try to overcome Trump. So they use arguments like this. Tim Pawlenty's for him. He's cool. He's hip. He's with it. Oh, hey kids, he can do the Macarena for you. Will you vote for him? Please vote for him over Trump. Please vote for him. He can't help himself. He really went as far as to say, the person who comes in first doesn't end up winning. Go ahead, Marco. Keep making an ass of yourself. You're going to face plant if you keep going in this direction with your campaign, and it's almost inevitable.